fan at all of scrims on top of speakers. It looks weird, man. These look like little goats. This looks like... What's up, bros? Welcome back to DJ Setup Review. In last week's video, I asked you guys to send in your DJ setups for review. So big shout out to everybody who sent in their setups for review. If you'd like to be featured in next week's video, we are going to be reviewing logos once more. So please send in your DJ company logos or DJ logos so that we can review them in next week's video. Keep in mind, next week we are only going to be reviewing logos, not setups. Additionally, before we get started, just want to remind you guys that we are doing a giveaway. We are teaming up with my friends over at Canal Sound and Light to give you guys a DJs SB3 as well as a pair of Pioneer Q1 headphones. If you want to be entered to win, be sure to follow both myself and Canal Sound and Light on Instagram, as well as be subscribed to both of our YouTube channel. We'll be announcing the winner this weekend. And without further ado, let's get into this DJ setup review. Our first setup today comes from DJ Eddie D from New Jersey. DJ Eddie D, thank you so much for sending in your setup. I love this all white that you got going on here, man. Very nice. Love that. Is this the bun booth, by the way? Your cable management needs some work. You also got to invest in some gaff tape, man. Gaff tape is not that expensive. Check out the description of my video. You can buy some gaff tape. You can get like 2 rolls for like 15 bucks or 7 bucks a pop. They're not that expensive. Tape your cables up, man. I like how you have all white cables, but it does look sloppy. Also, I would have liked to have seen these totems uplift so that you have some consistency going across with your evolves. I would have liked one here and here. Maybe I would have liked it if they were placed inside of the totems. I like these short totems with the wash with the par cans that you have here on top. I don't know how I would feel about these if these totems were a little bit bigger. I've never really seen par cans used on top of totems. It actually doesn't look half bad, but again, I would have liked to see these totems uplit just to add some consistency throughout. Next setup up comes from the homie DJ Nick Spinelli. Shout out to the homie Nick. By the way, subscribe to his YouTube channel. He's been crushing it on YouTube lately. Is this the Ryland Inn? I've been here. I'm pretty sure this is the Ryland Inn. It looks like it. This looks like the door to the kitchen, and then you just load in from back here and make your way out. Pretty easy load in here at the Ryland Inn. I will say though, you did kind of cheat though, because you did use a fisheye lens, so you are covering up a lot of your setup. Well, you can't see what your tripods look like. We can't see your cable management back here. But aside from that, I actually dig this setup, man. I like this setup quite a bit. I would have shot this cable straight back. I get that you were trying to not step on it, but what I personally would have done is I would have just shot it straight back to behind this facade here, and then I would have threw a mat over it just so that I'm able to step on it. I like the way you have this set up with the totems. You have the tall totems in the back, short totems in the front. I'm a little bit torn by this wrinkly look on the scrims. It actually doesn't look half bad here, but in person, it doesn't look right to me. It looks like that one time I tried to fit into a Magnum condom here. How many scrims are you using to achieve this here? Is this 1, 2, or 3? I put 2 on my totems and it still didn't look quite right. Also, I am digging this curved facade that you got going on here. I gotta say, man, it's a pretty clean setup. Angel from Lancaster, California sends in this next DJ setup. And wow, I'm actually kind of digging this. I will say this Mr. and Mrs. thing that you got going on here, it does draw a lot of attention and kind of is a bit distracting from, you know, the superstar that is you. Also, don't like the fact that you put your microphone right on top of this M here. Don't think I missed that. You got to get yourself a better microphone. It looks like you were trying to cheat a little bit and get it closer to the dance floor. You were probably having dropouts. Also, just got to put it out there, you rolled the cable on the pole. I've said it a bunch of times. I'm not a fan when guys roll their cables on the pole like this. It looks like a Twizzler. Also, I'm not crazy about the mirror ball being behind the DJ. I would have liked this somewhere else, so I would have liked it if you just got rid of it entirely. Aside from that, I could rock with this. Kyle, DJ Slain Dog, sends us this next setup for review. What type of venue is this? This looks like somebody's garage. The way this picture is taken, you're drawing attention to this. Automatically, my eyes go right to this. I really gotta look for your DJ setup. This is not a good picture to show your clients. You can't really tell what you got going on with your setup, and this background also doesn't help. Everything just kind of blends in, which I guess to some people that might be a good thing. Honestly, everything looks clean, but I really just can't sink my teeth into this one just because there's so much going on. I would have liked a better picture. Matt Ruglio sends in this next photo. Shout out to the homies over at Magic Moments. They're right here in Jersey. And I like this and I don't like this. There's a couple of things I don't like. I don't like that Twizzler effect. See this Twizzler effect? All you gotta do is just take some gaff tape and you'll never see it in photos. This Twizzler effect is not doing it for me. Also, don't know how I feel about these lights sharing a tower. It actually kind of works, but it looks a little cluttered. Also, don't like the fact that they're different. What I would have done is I would have personally moved this light to here and then this light to here to add a little bit more consistency. I would actually think this setup would look way better if you just got rid of 2 of these moving heads and just called it a day. I would have also liked it if you had these matching. I know these are better lights, but I would have liked it if you just had some consistency. This is just me nitpicking at this point because this is an awesome setup. The side is lit up beautifully. I also love this workstation that you guys got going on. Leonardo from Atlanta, Georgia sends in this next setup, and I like this all white, man. This looks clean. Your cable management needs work. You got to get some gaff tape, man. It's not hard to gaff tape things up. It takes like 2 minutes. You put some tape here, and then you roll a big piece across here, and it makes your cables look nice and tidy. Also, don't like the fact that your speakers are on the ground. I don't know if these speakers are meant to be used on the ground. These are big speakers. I'm assuming these are got to be tough to put on tripods, but I don't like the fact that they are on the ground. Aside from that, I like what you got going on here in the center. I'm not sure why you didn't uplit your totems and your facade. It might have been because you were being blown out by the windows. I would have liked to have seen what it looks like when you have all this lit up. Eric Romero, what the hell is this? You sent me an unfinished setup. Why'd you send me this photo? This is a weird ass photo that you sent me. I see you got the glow totems. Oh, here it is. Here's the finished product. Here's the finished product. Why'd you send me this? Why'd you take a picture of this and then you send me this? This is weird. I will say, this tent ain't helping your setup at all, but it's clean, man. You listen to everything. I can tell you watch the videos. Look at that. You can't see his cables. This is clean here. Totems are squeaky clean. Cable management is on point. My only critique with this would be to get some different power lights to light up these pillars here, and here. You only need to add an extra one. This will allow you to avoid these hot spots here on your facade. You did an awesome job with this, man. Great job. Rudy sends in this next photo, and damn, Rudy sends in this next setup, and Rudy, man, we got a lot of work to do. What's up with this cable, man? This is just lazy. Even if you don't gaff tape this, you can easily hide this cable inside of the truss. This cable dangling here is just sloppy. Come on, bro, you're better than this. Don't know what the height situation was at this venue, but I would have liked it if this could possibly go a little bit higher up, just because I feel like these lights are way too low. You're gonna be banging your head on these lights all night long. This looks a little bit cluttered and your cable work needs some work. Michael Van sends in this next setup, and it's an action shot. Michael, I like what you got going on here. I gotta say, I'm particularly not a fan of these ball LED mirror things, but it actually kind of works when you get an action shot like this. This is what you get when you have a good photographer that can polish everything up. Can't really tell what you got going on in your setup. I see you got a gig bar. Can't really see your cable management. I see a block of cables here, but I don't know what it looks like when it's actually up front. In action, this setup actually kind of works. Ian sends in this next setup, and Ian, what's going on here? I like that you put a disclaimer. I didn't have a choice. The tents, that's what they gave me. Yeah, man, I can't really bash you for that because I'm the same way. A lot of people tell me like, hey, go out and buy your own tents, but I'm not in the tent business. So I feel your pain. I've suffered with this myself where I get to the gig and, you know, I'm supposed to have a tent because we're outdoors. I tell them, hey, I need a tent, and then they give me one of these crappy little tents here. And it looks like you had a big setup, so they had to give you 2. I don't really see a way of you fixing this without making an awkward setup. What I would have maybe considered is maybe just taking the tent and just putting my facade underneath it, and then I know it's gonna be cringe, and then I would have probably taken another tent and just put 2 speakers underneath that tent. The move here would have been to have this speaker moved here. You probably are missing it just because of ceremony, probably using it for that. So I would have moved this here, put his here, and then I would have moved this facade here, and then called it a day. It would have still made the setup awkward, but it would have been the best case scenario. Also, with the T-bars that you got going on here, I would have liked to have seen these two matching. So maybe I would have taken one swarm, put it on here, and then take two lights and put them on here, just so that you have both of your T-bars matching. Eric Ford from the Bay Area sends in this next setup, and I like it, man. I like it. I don't like how they did you dirty here. It looks like you just recently died. I don't RIP to the DJ. They put some flowers right in front of you. I hate when they do that. I hate when they throw stuff in front of my facade. I would have low-key just pretended to trip over this and then been like, oh, this is a bad spot for this just because of requests, and I almost tripped over it. You know, giving it a little kick when nobody was watching. Aside from that, man, you did a great job. The cable management looks like it's on point. This is a bad picture, I will say, though, so I can't really judge it. Your speakers, I will say, do look a little low. I would have liked them if they were raised just a little bit. However, you are on a stage, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. This is not a bad setup at all. DJ Nugget sends in this next setup that we got going on here. Okay, DJ Nugget, let's see what we got going on. He says this was a school dance. I can't really see it because this is really far away, but some things I can't point out. At this point, I would just get rid of these lights here. These lights ain't gonna do squat. Just use this T-bar up here. When you're dealing with big venues like a basketball court that you have here, you got to get these lights up high to cover as much area as possible. I would have also liked it if you were a little bit centered. Sometimes the room does help you. Like you see here, there's a black line. I would have centered right in front of it. So I would have liked it if you did your due diligence just a little bit and moved over to the side. That way your computer logo lines up with this black line and your T-bar lines up with this black bar as well. Jose sends in this next setup. I like this. This is a great picture. He sends in two, but I can't really see this one. This one's kind of a bad picture. I like this one here. There's a couple of things, just a real big pet peeve of mine that you got going on here. I absolutely despise when DJs shoot cables right through the middle of the truss. Why do you guys do that? Please, guys, watching out there, please don't shoot cables right through the middle of your truss. It's so tacky and ghetto. Just get a longer cable, shoot it down, and shoot it through the floor across. Don't shoot your cables across like this. It looks so tacky, it looks so ghetto, and it's such an easy fix. All you need is a longer cable, and then you can hide it on the floor. That fixes that. Additionally, you got to be careful when you're doing these events. Just make sure that you aren't running your name all night. It's okay if you have it running a couple times in the night, but you know, if this is like, for example, Emily's Quinceañera, you got to make sure that this says Emily's Quinceañera and it doesn't say DJ D Light all night long. Additionally, maybe find different placement for these lights here. I like this facade that you got going on here. It's pretty clean. I like that. I like the DMX that you got going on here. It looks like you had some haze, so you got some nice beams coming out of this. DJ Dome Omar sends us this next setup. The setup is kind of dope. This looks like a bar mitzvah setup. Are you from New York? This looks like definitely like a New York setup. A lot of guys in New York do this. They do this in particular for bar mitzvahs. Oh, this was a 616. This wasn't a bar mitzvah. What these guys do is they build a bunch of these plexiglass squares. They light them all up. They build stages. They build bars and even DJ booths like you see here. This actually looks pretty awesome, man. My only thing with this setup, I don't like that the TVs kind of take a back seat. What I would have personally done is I would have probably made the TVs a little bit more apparent. Maybe putting the TVs here and then have the speakers off to the side a little bit, but it works. Oh, this one here is fire. This one is dope. I like what he did here with the cans. This is really nice. I don't know what this mic here is about. This might have been like a presentation, maybe a holiday party type thing. I'm hoping this isn't just here for show. Wow, he sent in a lot of photos. His setups are actually really nice. He's got a lot of different setups. Great job, man. Oh, but he's got this mic here again too. What's up with this mic, man? Let us know what you're using this mic for. This mic is just throwing me off. Why do you have this here? Omar, there's really not much that I can pick at with your setups. Your setups are really clean. They're really nice. You got the all white going on. I can tell you invested some money. You're also very creative. I like the way that you use these ape cans, man. This looks awesome. Great job, Omar. Luis Valle sends us this next setup, and wow. I actually kind of like this. I like what he's got going on here. I like how he's got that dripping effect. I see this a lot at like EDM festivals where they got an LED wall in the back behind the DJ and an LED wall in front of the DJ. This obviously isn't an LED wall. This looks like an LED blanket. I do find these a little tacky. This is an example of how to use these LED blankets properly. They're nice and tight. They're not wrinkled. The lighting in this picture is not the best, so I can't really make out all the details that you got going on here. He's got a couple other setups here, which, you know, honestly, I don't want to take a look at all these setups. This next setup comes in from Teun. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. From Netherlands. And what do we have going on here? Your setup just looks a little clustered. What I would do is just clean it up a little bit. Just because you got too much, just because you have all these lights, doesn't necessarily mean that you need to bring all these lights to your event. Now, that doesn't mean that this is a bad setup. All you have to do is just clean it up, maybe get rid of some of these lights, and I think you'll have yourself a setup that's not too bad. Also, be careful with this, with your name and your phone number. Not a fan of having your facade be somewhat of a business card. It looks a little tacky. Martin from the Netherlands sends in this next setup. All right, the Netherlands is represented today. It looks like you got the SRXs, man. Nice. Love it. Love it. Love it. You're also using some haze here. Your cable work is on point. Everything looks nice there. The only thing that I don't like is your DJ booth. Your DJ booth, the fact that it's not going all the way to the ground bothers me. I hate seeing the casters because it looks like you can roll away any moment now. Maybe get something to cover this up and call it a day. Same thing here, super clean, but the casters just makes it feel like you're gonna roll away any moment now. Wow, events from Romania. Romania in the building, rocking the RCFs. All right, Romania, I see you guys. You guys got some money over there, huh? This honeycomb facade is pretty cool, but there's a problem. You can see right through it. When you have any type of front board, the idea is to cover this entire mess. Believe it or not, behind my facade, it's a mess of cables, and that's why we have the facade. The facade is there to hide our mess of cables. And with this honeycomb pattern that you got here, you can see right through it, which kind of defeats the purpose. So I would maybe see of maybe getting another one of these honeycombs and just cutting it in half and shooting it right here and right here to hide these cables, because these cables, they don't look pretty, man. They don't look pretty at all. Also, maybe find a different spot for these little guys here, maybe on the side of the speakers. They don't look very nice here right in front of your front board. Just draws a lot of attention when you have the contrast from the white to the black. DJ on cue sends this next setup. What the hell are you guys taking your photos with? These photos today have been not the best. Nothing really to complain about. I would maybe just get these TVs up just a little bit, just because you have some space here in your totem. I don't like the fact that you can still see space between the totem and the TVs. You want to make it seem like it's all flowing. It's their truss flowing into the TV, flowing into the towers. Aside from that, everything looks pretty good, man. Just maybe get a better camera. DJ Joe, is this DJ Joe Jack? DJ Joe Jack, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to everybody who I mispronounced their name. Alright, let's see what we got going on. This looks cluttered, but I'm not going to blame you for that. Sometimes it's just the venue. Sometimes the venue just doesn't have the space for the DJ. So it does look a little bit cluttered. These overhead rigs, they're tough to pull off because you have a lot of space to work with, and in your particular case, you didn't use this space very wisely. These lights are tiny in comparison to this massive structure that you got here. For lights of this size, you're better off with just the T-bar rather than setting a full overhead structure. It's gonna save you on time, and it's just gonna avoid it from looking like this doesn't belong. Look into getting a T-bar to fix this up, and we might have ourselves a decent setup. Next setup comes in from Hands. All right, Hands. Wow, this is overkill. Honestly speaking, man, your setup needs to be updated. It looks a little bit dated. This setup looks dated. It looks old school. What I mean by that, it looks like you have a nice venue here in the background, but your setup is just totally clashing with it. Like, this is super industrial. Also, you don't have all your scrims lit up, so it's just kind of clashing. I would maybe say just look to get rid of this entire overhead structure that you got here. Your setup is just drawing too much attention, and the attention that is drawing is not the best. These scanners are old school. I would get rid of them. I would say maybe get rid of this and look into getting some moving heads, maybe some wash fixtures, and just really modernizing your setup. Jeffrey Dotson sends in this next setup, and wow, this is a cool thing that you got going on. I don't even know what to call this thing, but it looks... What is this, man? Did you build this yourself? I like this. I like how you hide your tripods with this big old thing. Not a fan of the T-bars all the way on top. It just looks like a lot. Looks like a lot is going on with this T-bar up top here. It looks weird. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But I like this, man. I like this. Tell us a little bit more in the comment section about how you built this and what's going on here. Jonathan Brooks sends in this next setup. I like this TV thing that you got going on here. Which one is this one? Is this the Pro X one? I've seen guys use this in the past, but it didn't look as nice as it does with you. I will say though, you should work on your visuals for your TVs. The TV visuals here don't look very nice. I don't like this plain black that you got going on here. I don't know if you had different effects going on throughout the night, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Your TV visuals could use a little bit of work, you know, just maybe add some color to this instead of just having that all black there. See your T-bar, man, you got a bunch of cables here. I don't even know if this is plugged in. Maybe you took this picture early. I see it here, and the cable needs some work, man. I also see that the videographer did you dirty. Hate when they do this. They just go ahead and plug in their little device. I see that they plugged in their device. You did your job with the speakers, so great job on the speakers, not so great job up here. Zach Drew sends us this next setup, and Zach, man, I gotta just tell you up front, I am not a fan at all of scrims on top of speakers. It looks weird, man. These look like little ghosts. This looks like you could draw like a face here. Maybe light this up to give it some contrast, like these scrims up here on the bottom to give it some contrast. But man, just get rid of this, man. Just get rid of the scrims on the speakers. I'm very biased here. I just don't like it. I wouldn't even give it a chance, so I'm sorry. I do apologize for that. I don't know what other people think. Let us know down in the comments below what you guys think about scrims on top of speakers. Aside from that, man, I think you would have a nice setup. If you have black speakers, it would actually work because you'd add some contrast to this Parcam bar here. I would also maybe look into moving these lights here to moving them right up here. I think it would look really nice, actually, if you put them up here. I see that this belonged to a T-bar, but you kind of took it off. Maybe if you can also get rid of this adapter here. If you can't, it's all good. Just maybe move it up here to give these a little bit more height as well. Aside from that, everything looks good. Cable management could be tightened up a little bit, but that's just me nitpicking. RJM Entertainment sends us this next setup here, and honestly speaking, very little complaints. Honestly, the only thing that I would fix here is just maybe move this so that it lines up a little bit more to here. Also, maybe look into getting a different light for your facade, just because you are creating a super harsh effect here. Aside from that, this is a great setup. Great job, man. Next setup comes in all the way from Germany, and wow, I actually do like this setup. I've never seen these speakers here in the US. These are definitely something that's out of this country, out of this world. I like the way you got these lights here on top of these speakers. It looks pretty good. The only thing that I don't like is this big old robot looking thing. I don't like this. What effect does that create? I wonder what effect that does. And this love sign, I don't know if you brought this yourself or if they placed it there. It looks like they might have placed it there because it looks like it's gone there. It looks clean, man. Loving the all white. Alright, and that's gonna do it for this episode of DJ Setup Review. Let us know your critiques and your favorites down in the comments below. Additionally, don't forget that if you'd like to be a part of next week's video, we are going back to doing DJ logo review. So please send in your DJ logos so they can be reviewed in next week's video. Lastly, don't forget about the DJ Barr Canal Sound and Light giveaway. We are giving away a DJs SB3 as well as a pair of Pioneer Q1 headphones. In order to be entered to win, you must follow both of us on Instagram, Canal Sound and Light, DJ Barr and Jay, as well as be subscribed to both of our YouTube channels. Lastly, bros, don't forget to hit that like button on the way out, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace!